What is Table of Specification? Table of Specification is a tool used to ensure that a test or assessment measures that content and thinking skills that the test intends to measure.
There are 6 parts of Table of Specification. First, the objectives. Second, time spent on topics. Third, percent of class time spent on objectives. Fourth, number of test items. Fifth, lower levels. And the last one is the higher levels. So, one of my group mates will explain on how to do the Table of Specification.
Good day to each and every one of us. I am here to present to you on how we can make the Table of Specification. So, in our illustration, we have 6 columns and 7 rows. So, in the top of our chart, there are 6 headings. So, these are instructional objectives, time spent on topics, percent of class and objectives, number of test items, lower levels, and high levels. So, in our objectives, there are 5 objectives written here. And these are just examples on how we can make our own table of specification. So, in the first objectives, teach the definition of noun, teach the definition of verb on the second objective. Third is giving an examples of verbs. Number 4 is reading comprehensions. And 5, make a paragraph and include 10 verbs. These are just examples. We are just depending on what we have searched in Google and what we have watched in YouTube. So we are done in the objectives. So we can move on the time spent on topics, which is on the second column. If we are in a class and our time to teach this whole lesson is just 2 hours or 120 minutes. So, your time to teach the first objectives is 25 minutes. So, we have 25 minutes to teach the definition of nouns. So, I'm going to write 25 here. Also, in the second objective, we have 20 minutes. On the third is 25 minutes. On the fourth objectives, we have 30 minutes. The fifth objective, we have 20 minutes. So we are done putting the minutes on how long we can teach our objectives. So we need to sum up to get the whole time so that we can teach the whole lesson. So 25 plus 20 plus 25 plus 30 plus 20 is 120 minutes. So we are done summing up the time spent on topics, which is 120 minutes. So we are here on the third column, which is the percent of class on objectives. So to get the percent of class on objectives, we should compute basically in our formula, which is time spent on topics divided by the sum of the minutes and multiply it in 100. So 25 divided by 120 is 0.20. Then we will multiply it on 100. T is 0.20 times 100 is 20.83. Next is 20 divided by 120 is 16.66 or 16.67. So I will let you do the third, fourth, and fifth objectives using our formula. Alright, in the third objective, we will get 20.83%. On the fourth objective, we will get 25%. And in the fifth objective, we will get 16.67. In order to move on the fourth column, we will sum all of the percentage. So, 20.83 plus 16.67 plus 20.83 plus 25 plus 16.67 is 100%. We should have to ensure that the percent of class is equivalent to 100%. So we are done calculating the third column of our table of specifications. So we are moving on the fourth column, which is the number of test items. As you can see, I have written 10 here, which is the item of our test. So to calculate the number of test items, we will multiply the percent of class to the items that is written on our chart, which is 10. So 20.83% times 5 is 2.08. The second objective, we have 16.67. So 16.67 times 10 is 1.67. So I am letting you to calculate the third to fifth objective using our formula. So in the third objective, the third percent of class is 20.83 multiplied by 10 is 2.08. So in the fourth is we have 2.5. And in the fifth, 16.67 times 10 is 1.67. So we are done calculating the number of test items. Now, we will sum it up all to get 10. So 2.08 plus 1.67 plus 2.08 plus 2.5 plus 1.67 is 10. The sum of all the number of test items is 10. So as you can see, it is 10. This must be equal to each other. The percent of class must be all equivalent to 100%. So in the fourth and fifth column, we are not going to compute anymore. You as a teacher can decide on what can you put here in the lower level. So the sum of the lower level must be lower than the higher level. So I will decide on what I will put here on the fifth column. So I will put one multiple choice question, one multiple choice question, one multiple choice question, and one multiple choice question. So I decided to put one each in the four objectives. So since this is the lower level, and the sum of the lower levels must be lower in the higher level, which is in the sixth column. So I will sum up this all. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. So we are done summing up the lower levels. And I will repeat that the lower levels must be lower than the sum of the higher level. So the sum of the lower level is 4. So the remaining objective is only number 5. Make a paragraph and include 10 verbs. So as you can see, as a teacher, you are just teaching these 4 basically. So the fifth objective is more difficult to the student that will make the paragraph and include 10 verbs. So I will put on the higher level 6 points. And now I am done putting the lower level, which is one multiple choice question, and in the higher level is 6 points in making fifth objectives. And the sum of the higher level is 6. So the total of lower level is 4 and the total of higher level is 6. So we need to ensure that the sum of these two is equivalent to the number of test items. So 6 plus 4 is 10. And there, your table of specification is done.